Hello, my name is Professor Clark. I teach environmental science and biology at the American University in Bulgaria, and it's my privilege to have the chance to enter your classroom, although it's not live, of course, but to come in and share with you some about water. And I realize that during the course of the semester, you're going to have several different professors from different countries and different continents, from different perspectives, addressing this issue of water. And I think it's a very appropriate topic because water is necessary for life. If there's no water, there's no life. It's necessary for economies. It's necessary for culture. Water is such an essential element of everything we do that it's appropriate that we have a grasp of it, not just from a single discipline, but across many disciplines. And so today, I'd like to share with you briefly about just about myself, about water in general, and a little bit about where I'm coming from in Bulgaria. So today what we're doing is we're having a bit of a test. I'm testing the technology. I'm trying some new software. And it's also going to be a time for introductions. I want to introduce myself. I want to introduce the American University briefly. And I also just want to introduce Bulgaria and then just touch on some of the unique water issues that my adopted country, Bulgaria, is facing. First of all, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm married and have two children. They're both grown up now. One is 30 years old, the other is 32 years old. Makes me feel old. I've lived in Bulgaria a total of about 15 or 16 years. We lived in Bulgaria, my wife and I have lived in Bulgaria with our children from 1992 until 2000. And then in 2000, we went back to the States for a few years. I went back to graduate school, and then we moved back to Bulgaria in 2005. A little bit about my education. Way back in 1978, in the dark ages, I received my bachelor's degree in wildlife biology from the State University of New York, College of Environmental Science and Forestry. And then, after graduating, I worked for about 2 years as a lab technician in a biophysics lab at Syracuse University. And then after that, my wife and I embarked on this adventure of working in the nonprofit sector. In fact, that is what first brought us to Bulgaria, working with a Christian nonprofit organization that was doing various types of projects in Bulgaria. We moved from Bulgaria back to the United States for a brief period of time in 2000. And from 2000 to 2005, I was a graduate student at Penn State University. In 2002, I finished my master's degree with a focus on environmental pollution control and an emphasis on watershed management. I had such a good time studying that I went on to earn my PhD in 2005 in forest resources. But again, my focus during this time was on hydrology. It was on water. I've been teaching at, and then we moved back to Bulgaria in 2005. This time without our children. They continued on in the United States. But I started teaching at AUBG in 2007. Now I want to tell you a little bit about myself. Just like you, I was an undergraduate once. It's hard for you to believe maybe that your professors were ever young, but just take my word for it. Most of your professors are actually young people just trapped in an older person's body. And so we know what it's like to be in your position. And one of the things I love about teaching is that it keeps me around young people like you, active minds, people who are trying to make the world a better place. And what it does for me as an older person now, it keeps me young, and it keeps me on my toes and keeps me learning. As I mentioned, I teach at the American University in Bulgaria. I don't know how similar this is to your institution, the American University in Nigeria, or of Nigeria. But the American University in Bulgaria was founded in 1991, shortly after the fall of communism. We have about a little over 1,000 students here. And those students, for me, one of the fun part is that these students come from about 40 different countries. About half the students are Bulgarian, and then the other half comes from around the Balkans, from Albania, Romania, Kosovo, Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia, and then from around the former Soviet Union, Russia, Ukraine, Belarus. We have lots of Central Asians here, Kazakhs and Kyrgyz and Uzbeks, and students from Turkmenistan, from Tajikistan. We have a few Chinese students. We have a whole group of Mongolian students, some Vietnamese, and once I even had the privilege of having a Nigerian in my class, which was very fun for me. You can see our majors listed there, and something that's not listed is science. We have no science majors here, unfortunately. But since we embrace this liberal arts and American style of teaching, we want to expose all our students to some scientific thinking. So whether they're studying business or economics or politics, it's important for people to think or to know how to think in a scientific way. Blagoevgrad is a wonderful place to live. I grew up in a place that was very snowy and cold, so I like the winters here. We get a little bit of snow, not too much. We have very warm, pleasant summers. Sometimes it gets hot, but I guess by your standards it's not that hot. We might hit high 30s or maybe 40 degrees occasionally, but we have beautiful, beautiful springs and falls. With today, for example, the temperature was in the low 20s, very low humidity, sunny, and you can see that at this time of year the cafes are just filled with people. So I hope someday you'll get a chance to visit Blagoevgrad, sit down at a cafe with me, and we can have a chat over coffee. Now I'd like to tell you a little bit more about Bulgaria and how AUBG fits within that framework. We're located in the town of Blagoevgrad, and if you look at that map, you'll see that little red triangle down there. We're about 25 kilometers from the Macedonian border. We're about 100 kilometers south of the Bulgarian capital, connected by a very nice highway, so it only takes about an hour and a half to get to the capital, a city of about 1 million people, 1.5 million. And we're about 100 kilometers from the border with Greece. We're very proud of our graduates. I'm sure in many ways they're similar to the graduates at your school. They're very bright young people. When they graduate from AUBG, many of them get jobs with top companies like Google and Microsoft, Procter & Gamble, other international companies, all across Europe, in North America, and around the globe, really. Many of our students are accepted at some of the top graduate schools in the world, including Cambridge and Oxford, and some of the Ivy League schools in the United States. It's a privilege for me to be able to have such bright, ambitious kids in my classroom. Maybe a little geography lesson here will help. Bulgaria, you can see it, the green country right here, kind of in the middle of the map, is located in the heart of the Balkan Peninsula. The Balkans are a very interesting place because it's where the Muslim Middle East kind of meets Christian Europe. It's where the Orthodox world of Russia and Romania, Ukraine, Bulgaria, these are all Eastern Orthodox countries. They meet the Catholic world of with Italy and Croatia and Montenegro, where there's kind of a mix. It's at a crossroads of Europe where civilizations have crossed back and forth for thousands of years, and so it's an ancient land, one of the oldest recognized countries in the world, and a place that has been inhabited with fairly advanced civilizations for a long period of time. The Balkan Peninsula is defined by 3 seas. There's the Adriatic Sea that comes down the coast of Croatia, the coast of Albania and Greece, There's the Aegean Sea, which lies between Turkey and Greece, and then there's the Black Sea, which forms much of the eastern border of Bulgaria. And then the north of Bulgaria is bounded by the Danube River. Now, Bulgaria faces some serious water issues. You can see from this graph here, I don't know how well you can read this, but when it comes to percentage of available water that Bulgaria is actually using, it's up there near, now the present trend is somewhere right around 40%. And generally speaking, any country that's using more than 20% of its available water for human purposes is under water stress. Bulgaria has had frequent droughts. A lot of times there's water rationing. They've had a huge problem with their water supply infrastructure. It's antiquated. It's deteriorating. The country is poor and doesn't have all the resources to update its infrastructure. Climate change has made a tremendous impact on the water resources of Bulgaria. And just to give a small example, in my town we get most of our water from the river. And in order for that river to be flowing, we need snow melt up in the mountains. The trouble is, with climate change, most of the precipitation, which used to arrive as snowfall and would build up in the mountains, is now coming later in the year as rain and simply flows to the river and flows away to Greece. And so there's less water available for use right here. Now, in my next lecture, when I come back after seeing if this technology works, we'll be talking about the hydrologic cycle and how that flow of water through the environment is so essential for human uses like drinking water, industrial use, and agriculture. But we'll save that for next time. Today I just wanted to introduce myself, and I just wanted to let you know more about my country, Bulgaria. Oh, another issue, I forgot I had this slide. You'll see these rivers here that are outlined in darker blue. These are all rivers that begin in the mountains of Bulgaria, where we do have quite a bit of rainfall. Now, for most of Bulgaria, the amount of evaporation is greater than the amount of rainfall. But in the mountains, we have an excess of precipitation, but that water that forms here flows into these rivers, and you can see here, they flow out of the country. And so we have what are called transboundary water issues. Bulgaria has to, by treaty, has to guarantee that a certain amount of water will reach the border as these rivers cross into Greece or Turkey. But again, I'm getting into more detail than I want to now. We'll touch on some of these things later on. The main point for today was just for me to introduce myself, to see if this format's going to work, and to test the technology to a certain degree. So I look forward to interacting with you during the semester, and I hope that if you have any questions, that you will feel free to contact me by email. Your professor can give you my contact information. I would be glad to answer questions, and I hope that, at least to a limited degree, we'll get to know one another. So I hope you enjoy your course, that as you hear about water from all these different perspectives, you'll gain a deeper appreciation for the importance of water, and that you'll also gain some insight into how you personally can be involved in helping to conserve this precious resource that we have. Thanks again for letting me invade your classroom all the way from Bulgaria, and I hope you have a great day. Goodbye now.